Right, temporarily our work has stopped because the new monument's turned up, which relates to the bone ceremony which we are going to attend in a few days' time. Suntare's uncle has decided to do a bone ceremony for his parents, I think it is, and he's had this platform built by our builders, and he's going to put a monument on it, which they are now doing. All the bits to the monument are in the back of the truck here. This is a nice platform for the monument actually, because they're not going to have to worry about the water that's going to be rushing past it. As you can see, they've cut down some of the overhanging branches and trees to make it feasible to do this. Nobody really asks permission to do these sorts of things, they just do it, they just get on with it in Thailand. That's what I like about the country really, is that things aren't done properly, correctly, as in terms of Western ideals and thinking. But they just get on with it. I mean, look, they are levelling it, they're centralising it, they're doing a proper job. A little bit of an audience, including a multitude of dogs, of course.
Ow! Tiệt thôi.
So as far as I'm aware, this monastery, which is basically funded by the village anyway, is probably asked, sort of semi-told by whoever needs to do it, right, I want to put a monument for my father, mother, whatever, and I want to put it here. And the monks pretty well never say no. And then the village gets on with it. So when Suntare chose the position for her son's monument, it was just simply the best place she saw in the available area. And our builders just got the platform that it needed to go on, literally within 24 hours of the funeral arrangements being announced, really. So you'll see, possibly you'll see there's a concrete base. There's a concrete base at the bottom, onto which a block wall was built, and then that block wall was filled with sand, and then there's a further layer of concrete, a thin layer, maybe 5 centimetres on top of that. No structural engineer involved. There's wire in both the base and in the infill, thin wire. No biscuits used. John Martin, just emphasising to you that, whoops, that they just do things. They do things and it works here. Something else that people have been commenting on in the past, especially with the new house build, was how very liquid the concrete is. Comments like, oh, that's too much water, oh, it's, you know, not going to gain any strength and all this sort of thing. Well, actually, that's not right, because this place is so damn hot and the concrete's laid onto such hot ground, which is basically going to suck all the moisture out, that it requires extra water in the mix to ease the pouring and to make sure it doesn't actually set too quickly. Not set too quickly, because setting is actually a chemical reaction, but it doesn't dry out before the chemical reaction has had a chance to let the concrete mature. And I think, to be fair, if you get a bit too tied up in rules and regulations here that you're used to in your home country, sorry, I had to clear my throat then, bit of a gap. If you get too tied up in rules and regulations that you're used to in your home country, you're really not going to be very happy here, because you're going to view everything as being just totally unacceptable. And I've learnt since living in the village that for the most part, what I see and what I have to sort of live around, I just accept as the way of life and part of the cultural fascination of this country. It doesn't stop me getting wound up when I ask for things to be done a certain way and they're not, as I showed you in a previous video. And I got banned from attending the building site. But to be honest with you, that was sort of a cunning plan, because I didn't really want to get involved too much in the physical building of it anymore. So I was quite happy to be told not to come all day. Now, as with our monument, there are two places on the top bit there for plaques. There's two places there. Top's going on now. So that will be the parents. The parents will have a plaque made in due course, unless it's already been made, which will go on the front there. And there's a hole in the back into which their remains will be passed. So those pieces he's putting in now are just being put in there for safekeeping, really. They will be glued to that hole. There must be another bit at the top with another hole, actually, because there are two face plates. And similar to everyone, really, the remains will be in a decorative sort of jar. The remains being actual bone fragments, not very large bone fragments probably, but there are Oops, there are bone fragments in the pot, and in my experience, every now and again, the family takes the bones out of the pots and cleans them and does a monk's blessing. And indeed, that might be what this ceremony is going to be involving. It might not just be moving them from their place of rest at the moment, which is likely to be one of these sorts of monuments along a wall. It may involve actually opening the caskets and cleaning the bone fragments and having them blessed and then reinterring them. Yes, this has got a hole in it as well, this one. It's got a hole in the top as well, probably due to the casting. This is where it gets very interesting. There's another bit to go on top. Wow, that is quite tall. Someone behind me checking the position visually. This guy in the hat is the uncle, Suntory's uncle. So he's organising it all.
ไปทั้งตัวหน่อยนึงหมดกันแมนบ่ฐานน้ำปลายมองฐานมองตีนนี่ก็คือกันไปทั้งไอ้การหลายปุ่นบ่ตีนไต่แหมแม่นบ่หน่วงไปทั้งตัวหน่อยนึงกันแม่นอยู่ปลายมันน่ะนั่นแหละเอายาเลิกไปแล้วครับผู้ใดแต่ว่า
แต่กระเบื้องหนุนพอดีเลยยับไปทั้งตะวันไก่หน่วยหนึ่งตีน
มองตีนนั่น
มองตีนเขาเหยียบ
มองตีนการเหยียบนั่นสุกมาหาทั้งเพิ่นพี่ลูกนอกจากน้อยตัวฐานล่างอ่ะตัวข้างล่างโตน่ะเอาไปก่อนกะสิว่ามันได้แล้วละไปอ่ะ
โอเคแล้ว
ไปพอดี
มันไม่ได้ปูสาดนั่งตีอยู่ดีหรอกแต่มันนั่งตีว่ามันยากมันยังมันสิปูสาดเฮ็ดเตียงยางดีเลยมันยังสิเฮ็ดไหมวะบอกว่าเว้าเลี้ยงแต่ว่ามันยากมันยังนั่นแหละมีคนมาตีว่าสิบ่ปูสาดนั่งอยู่นี่แล้วเอานั่งมึงนั่งตีอยู่ดิมันปูมันคับแต่ว่ามันยังก็สิเฮ็ดไหมเวลา
ตอดไปทางเพิ่น
Right, back on the main job. The niece and her husband are going to make up some mortar. They're making up a load of mortar for me because I want to put mortar up against this plastic around the two sides of the house, so it'll keep any water that runs near it away from the actual house. So I've given this a good sweeping, cleaned it up ready. Around the back here, the holes have been filled where the pipes go through the wall. We've got another ring on top of the poo hole now, which will be mortared in to make it waterproof, and the area ready for a bit of concreting for the runoff has been prepared. So we're going to basically, or I'm going to basically make sure that there's plenty of concrete up against this ring here, so any splashing that occurs doesn't go over there, and the mortar joint will stop the water getting into the poo hole itself. Yeah, so the water comes out of this gap at tremendous speed when it's when we've really got a monsoon going, and it will basically erode all this if we don't protect it, because it will come shooting off that step there. And just for the first metre or so, I think it needs to have some decent surface to flow against, and then it can go down the channel, down the dirt channel. Yes, so when the mortar's finished, as it were, when I've done the mortaring, we're then going to add some stones to any remaining mortar and create concrete to put here. Meanwhile, inside, the two lads are working on the kitchen and the bathroom. So I got one tap on there already. Looks like that's the second one going to be going on. So prior to this, we had one huge tap coming through the hole in the centre of these two pipes, which was just angled to basically fill one of the sinks, and it was gravity fed from the tank around the side. So it wasn't very efficient, and you had to use a huge amount of water. Now, What we've got here is we've got the poo pipe in place. We've got the pipe for the basin ready to be connected. And something we didn't have before, which is water above where the washing machine will be, to make that easier to fill, because you used to have to fill it with buckets. Taking the buckets from a big tank, which is going to be there still. I'll just hope that tap's high enough. Yeah, that should be high enough for the bucket we've got. So that's coming along. Still just a few cracks to fill. That's what Suntrae will be doing after she's finished the grousing out here. Well, we really are getting to the final stages now, because the wires going back above the side of the bathroom. I have formed a channel partway down the channel. Formed it out of concrete so that when the water pours out, it's not going to destroy the edge around the pool hole. So I've got a couple of nice strong edges there and there, and then that's a reasonable thickness of concrete all in one pour, and a bit of an edge here and a thicker lip just here. Looks like there's been a dog in here. Let's get rid of that dip. Yeah, so there's a nice thicker edge there, so when we take all this gubbins away, it should be quite a good runoff for the water and should last a while. And then I'll just dig this channel out a little bit more, because I've managed to fill it with a bit of rubbish, and as you can see, some of the bank has already collapsed into it as predicted. But that just needs to be dug out very, very slightly more. Walking around here now, you can see that the edge has been done. Still a bit of plastic showing, that's alright. Probably just leave that there. But we've got a bit of an edge now, so that's protecting the house from any water that somehow finds its way alongside the house. The windows are now back in after being stained, so the window frames and the windows are basically stained, and they've been trimmed accordingly to make sure they fit properly now. Going inside, this front door has been taken off and trimmed because it was fouling the tiles, and it was fouling the tiles when it was open to about here. And Suntrae said, oh, it doesn't matter, that's wide enough to open, but the problem is that it won't be just open to there. People will basically open it quite hard to there, and it will be it'll get damaged over time. The bottom will get damaged, the tile gets scratched, and because of the vibration, the top will go out of true as well. So I said, no, you take it off and do it properly, so we actually don't have any problems with that. It's quite close to the tile actually. I imagine when it gets wet it might swell up and catch again, but we can deal with that when it happens. This door never closed properly since it was fitted, because it was catching on the tile down here. So apparently that's been taken off now and trimmed. Yeah, so that's fine now, so that doesn't catch. 2 interior doors have been rehung, and I'm not sure if they've altered the hinges to make them close properly, but no, they haven't, because that doesn't close any more than that. And this one should be the same really if it's not been changed. Oh no, that's better. I'll tell you why that's better. Because I took the hinge off in the middle, and after I'd taken the hinge off in the middle, the door was free to close quite well. So that hinge will be somewhere around, and I think what it needs is that basically this area here that's dug out is dug out quite deep on this side and very shallow on this side. So the hinge is actually preventing the door from closing properly. So I'll get my chisel and just chisel that out to the right depth on this side and refit the hinge in due course. Not that it really needs more than 2 hinges, because this is a very light door. I wonder if this door suffers from the same problem, just one hinge causing the problem. I can see this hinge isn't, don't know if you can see that, this hinge is the same. Here it's dug quite well into the door, and here it's very shallow. If I take that off, that door might be okay as well, so I'll try that. So the plumbing's all done. I think I've shown you that already. Got taps there, all the grouting's done, just waiting for it to dry. Looks like they just need to do the electric connection for the shower, and everything's done in here because it is. So yeah, just a couple of cracks to fill and then painting. We've got a big pipe to put back. Next, after they've done that grill, they're going to have time to do this pipe. So I've started to gather all the bits of pipe that I took apart. Unfortunately, some of it's already been used for something else, so they're going to have to start again really, but that doesn't really matter. It's just an extra connector and a U-bend sort of thing. Not a U-bend, a 90-degree bend. Yeah, so I want them to reconnect this pipe. That's the original pipe that was slightly underground. And there's a pipe that goes down the side there. A big long pipe which has been kept. That's at the back of the house, ready to be reused. So they'll work out what joints they need, and then they'll go to the local shop in the village and get those. It's a few baht extra than going to Nondindang, but a hell of a lot cheaper on petrol and time, of course. Because Nondindang for us is about 20 minutes away, 14 kilometres, so unless you're going by motorbike, it's a fair few baht in diesel. Out of proportion to what you normally buy for this sort of job. So that's good. When that's done, that will be good. That will go and just give some added protection from cats, and indeed from humans. So yeah, we really are getting there now. all this mess will be cleared fairly quickly. There's a lot of bits and pieces lying around here, but the strange thing is that a lot of this mess you see here is used day to day. I mean, this is the washing up station after they've had their dinner, dirty as it may seem, and there's pots there for when they were doing the windows. I mean, the stain was oil based, so I don't know what they're doing putting it into water, but unless that's not water. But anyway, these brushes just need to be thrown away. There's no way they can be reused for anything. And all the staining's done, so that liquid will just get chucked away, and the brushes and the pots burnt. Ooh, naughty boy, burning. It's illegal, you know. It's banned. Yeah, it's just chaos, isn't it, when there's building going on, I have to say. I've got used to it now, fortunately. But really the priority after this is painting. What that is for Suntaray and her niece and husband. While they're painting, I'll start to tidy up, I think. Have a bonfire or two and have a good old clear out and rake this area flat. This frame will get taken away by the builders, and a lot of bits and pieces you see lying around will get taken away. It's their stuff. Any spare lengths of pipe we happen to have will just get stored here, probably up in that roof space there. Soon have it tidy. I think we've finished mixing cement and mortar. I don't think there's anything else to build, so what will happen here is these stones will just get spread out over the drive, and the sand will likely as not just get spread out as well and get washed away gradually as the rains come, unless someone has a need for it, either in the temple grounds or in close proximity. They can come along and help themselves, I would think. Yeah. It's quite amazing how much mess is made in building, isn't it? Right, that's it for now. Probably don't need to do very much more today in the way of filming. Hopefully the next part you see will be well on the way with the painting.